In the previous parts of this series, we have come to learn just how incredible this Fibonacci 60-digit clock is and how much mathematical information is encoded into it. In this video, we will continue to apply the Fibonacci clock as a building block and use it to create another very famous sacred geometrical symbol known as the seed of life. What is the seed of life? The seed of life is a geometric figure composed of 7 interconnecting circles arranged in a sixfold symmetry, forming a pattern that looks like a flower. It is considered a symbol of the fundamental forms of space and time and is one of the most important symbols in sacred geometry. The seed of life is said to represent the 7 days of creation in which the Judeo-Christian God created the universe. Please go and Google the seed of life or ask AI to tell you about the seed of life if you are not familiar with it. You need to bear this knowledge in mind as we create the seed of life using the Fibonacci 60-digit clock. These are ancient beliefs dating back thousands of years. It is not simply me saying this. Now look at the following. When I create the seed of life using the Fibonacci 60-digit clock, this incredibly sacred symbol starts to generate a flowering pattern of numbers. This is so stupendous, I can't even find the words to fully express the enormity of what is happening here. We have 3 sets of flowering number patterns that emerge. The pink flower on the outside is made up of 108 numbers, and they add up to 540. The middle flower colored in yellow is made up of 108 numbers, and they add up to 540. And then the green flower at the center is made up of 108 numbers, and they add up to 540. This is astonishing. When I create the seed of life using the Fibonacci 60-digit clock, it reveals a flowering pattern of numbers encoded with perfect mathematical symmetry. Words cannot adequately describe what we are seeing. Do you know what a magic square is? Here is an example of a man-made magic square. A magic square is a grid of numbers in which each row, each column, and every diagonal all add up to the same sum. In this example, you can see that each row, column, and diagonal all add to 15. We humans like to think we are so clever when we create something like this. We even called it a magic square. We think it's so wonderful that if we found this magic square carved on an ancient cave wall, we would not dismiss this and say, it must be meaningless. No, this shows mathematical intelligence at work. Now compare this relatively simple square to the Fibonacci seed of life. Here we have flowering patterns of numbers, all consisting of 108 numbers, all adding up to 540. The design is so much more complex, but it is not only far more complex, it is so mathematically beautiful. But that is not all. The most remarkable part of all of this are the numbers themselves, which are considered to be very sacred numbers. 54 and 108 have deep spiritual meaning and are found throughout the ancient world. For example, the Bayon Temple at Angkor Thom in Cambodia has 54 towers, and a mala, which is the prayer beads used in Buddhism, typically has 108 beads. Believe me, these are just 2 examples. These numbers turn up everywhere in the ancient world in all cultures. The big question here is, how can the Fibonacci 60-digit clock magically reveal a flowering pattern of sacred numbers when it is entered into the seed of life? A symbol considered to be one of the most fundamental symbols of creation. Even said to represent the 7 days of the creation of the universe by God. Can you possibly look at this and say, it must be random chance? Clearly, this is beyond all rational mathematical probability, and it must point to a super-intelligent mind that encoded this information into the very fabric of the universe. Who or what carved this flowering pattern of sacred numbers into the seed of life? I will stop here for today, but please tell me your imagination and curiosity has been ignited by all of this. Do not look upon this with indifference and apathy, Some incredible force is trying to reveal itself to us here. How could I find all of this after blacking out one night for exactly 216 minutes? 108 times 2 is 216. Wait till you see what I found next. All of this still makes the hairs on the back of my neck tingle, even after 12 years. Note the period of 12 years, by the way. None of this is random. I'll be back soon. Please click like and share and subscribe. There are people out there who desperately need to hear this message. And make sure you watch the previous videos so that you can appreciate just how much information must now be coded into this seed of life symbol, with its 7 circles, when a single Fibonacci 60-digit clock was filled with so much profound mathematical data. I will link all the previous parts in this series under the video description. In those first few videos, we learned how the Fibonacci 60-digit clock is encoded to perfectly mimic one day of time here on Earth. The seed of life is meant to represent the 7 days of creation. This is all about time and how the universe was created. See you soon.